If you're a man who's a dad, working long hours and trying to show up as the leader for your family that you know you can be, but you're absolutely fed up of every Instagram influencer putting different fad diets in front of your face all the time, then you're going to want to watch this video. What if I told you the problem isn't you, it's actually the diet itself? And there's a way that you can actually drop body fat and keep it off for life without having to give up all of your favorite foods, never eat bread again, and lick an apple for lunch every day. Like my client Adam, who dropped over 20 kg while still having a cheat day every single week for the last 2 years. So let's get straight into it. So I'm going to go out on a limb here and I'm going to say that you're either in one of the following two camps. Number one is you've tried restricting yourself at some point in the past with your diets that you've done before. You've followed some form of a diet plan potentially, but it hasn't necessarily worked the way that you wanted it to work. You may have cut your carbs, you may have done any of this sort of stuff, and for some reason it just hasn't given you back what you wanted it to give you. Or if that's not you, it's probably the minority. You're probably number two here, where you've never actually tried a diet approach before, and you know you really need to start to try and fix your health and fitness and your nutrition right now, but you don't really know where to start, which was actually me before I started learning about nutrition and health and fitness. I was the guy who had no idea where to start, what foods to eat, what really to do, and that was always me for such a long time. So the likelihood is you're following into one of these two camps here. And if you're not, then you're probably not been on social media for long and you probably haven't found this video and you're probably not going to get much use from it. But either way, regardless of which one of these two groups you fall into, you're going to take lots and lots and lots from this video. So let's kind of dive into it and let's see what is happening in here. So the first thing we need to do, and we need to get abundantly clear on this before we go any further into this training, is we need to have a mindset shift and a perspective shift about what we perceive as a diet and what we perceive as a lifestyle. Okay, so we need to completely flip the switch here. So we need to go from thinking that we're going on a diet, and we need to start thinking more along the lines of we are making this a lifestyle for ourselves. Okay, because so many guys refer to wanting to get in shape, wanting to start looking to be healthy in their life as a diet. Okay, if you see it as a diet and you refer to it as a diet and you act as if you're following a diet has to end eventually. And when the diet ends, that's usually when you rebound, you spiral, and you put on all the weight back. Okay, what I'm trying to teach you in this video is really, really simple. It's how to lose weight, but to keep it off forever. Okay, and obviously it's a very complex and it's a very detailed kind of explanation that goes into it, and there's more to it than just what you'll see in this video, but I will in future post follow-ups on this. But this is the switch, and we need to get very, very clear on this. Flip the switch before we start into this video. We are starting to build a lifestyle now, not a diet. All right, so let's get that diet culture out of the back of your head. Okay, so let me just address the reason why I think diet culture always seems to shit the bed for you. Okay, so if this is more so if you've tried a diet approach before in the past and it hasn't necessarily worked, most men, no, I say most, not all men, but most men have probably tried one of the following approaches when it comes to trying to drop body fat. All right, so number one is you've probably cut out carbs. Most people think that carbs make you fat. It's absolute bullshit. I don't agree with that in any way, shape, or form. And you just completely get rid of carbs out of your diet because they're just afraid that, that's where all the weight is coming from. You've probably heard, like, there's so many different sitcoms, so many different things that have been on in the past where people are talking about carbs being bad for you. That used to be what people thought. It used to be a perception. Now there's a little bit less of a persona around it. But carbs are very, very important in your diet, regardless of what you're trying to do. Most of your fuel that you get for your training will come from carbs. Contrary to popular belief, carbs, if you don't know, it's just short for carbohydrates. There's no such thing as good and bad carbs. If you can get carbs in your diet, you need a certain amount of carbs to be able to function. So if you're feeling really tired all the time and you've cut out your carbs, that's probably the reason why. You need carbs in your body. All right, so please do not cut out carbs. It's very, very important that you're on the same hymn sheet with me when I say this. A lot of people will say, I'm eating too many carbs in my diet, that's why I'm gaining weight. It isn't. Carbs attach themselves to the water atoms in your body. So if you've ever had, just to give an example here, if you've ever gone out on a Friday night and you've had a few too many drinks, or you've had a massive pizza, say you ordered Domino's on Friday night, you woke up and you've noticed that your weight has spiked maybe 2 or 3 kg. That's not because you've gained 2 or 3 kg of body fat. That is literally just because your body's holding water because of the amount of carbs that you put into your system. So when you cut out carbs, yes, you're going to get some really, really quick wins. Yes, you're going to drop some body fat really, really quickly. But it won't actually be proper body fat. It will just be body weight, is what I should have said there. So don't cut carbs out. All right, because yes, you'll get quick wins, but then it'll eventually catch up to you. You may have done some extreme restriction. This is an approach that I actually did myself last year. It went well for me at the time, but then the spiral off the back of it it wasn't good for me whatsoever. I'm going to show you an example in a second of what actually happened to me. It wasn't fun in any way, shape, or form. But what most guys will do is you'll drop your calories really, really low, and it's dropped to a point where it's just unsustainable for you. You're not able to live off that many calories in a day. And the reason you do this is you're punishing yourself. You're punishing yourself because you had too many beers at the weekend. You're punishing yourself because you had a box of donuts last week. And as a result, that basically just leaves you just at a very unsustainable level of calories. So you need a certain amount of calories every day to be able to function, to be able to get through the day. And sometimes extreme restriction can have a negative effect on you because you think you're going to eat less, so you're going to be able to lose more weight. But if you eat less, sometimes your body goes into a little bit of shutdown mode and you actually end up gaining weight as a result of eating less. So get very, very clear on the reason why you're cutting calories and how much you need to restrict before you go restricting. I'm going to cover that with you as well. And some quick fixes, like very high likelihood that most people nowadays have tried quick fixes. You might have you've seen those shakes that you see on the adverts where people will be like, oh, you start taking this shake for 15 days and you're going to lose this much weight. And you'll have this really fit model that's on or really in shape guy that's doing the advert, and they're like, oh, I'll take this shake. I took this shake for 30 days and now I am in the shape of my life. Bullshit, right? Because that man had to sort out the rest of his diet too, but he didn't tell you that. You may have tried detoxes. I've heard of like whole fruit detoxes where you just eat fruit all the time. And again, that's another form of cutting out carbs, because there is obviously carbs in fruit, but there's not a whole lot of other carbs, the good carbs that you need in your diet as well. 6-week summer shreds. So obviously I run a program called the Life Lift Repeat 30-day Accelerator. It's very different to a 6-week summer shred. So like, it doesn't have to be a summer shred. It can be a 6-week Christmas shred, different things across the space of the year. But my 30-day one is literally when you start building the foundations. I never promise anyone that they're going to get into the shape of their life in 30 days, but you will start building the foundations, and then you can obviously stay on after the 30 days if you want as well. But 6-week summer shreds, the problem with a 6-week summer shred is it gives you all the foundations to drop the initial level of body fat, but it doesn't teach you how to keep it off. It doesn't really explain how you're going to lose the weight. It just tells you to lose the weight. So that's the problem with a 6-week summer shred. And at the expense of me getting cancelled or me getting myself in trouble here, I've just said things that rhyme with schmaters. You know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to say it out loud. Not a lot of guys are really trying it nowadays, I don't think, but there was a point, and I don't know whether it's still a big thing or not, maybe it is, where a lot of people were going to schmaters and they were obviously losing a little bit of weight, but as soon as they stopped going to Weight Watchers, they'd put all the weight back on. And that's not the approach that I want for you, my man. All right, I want you to take a better approach than that, and I want to teach you that approach. So all of these approaches are the exact same. They all do the exact same thing. You're going to lose a bit of weight. You're going to start feeling shit about yourself because you're restricting. You're not letting yourself go out for social events. You're not seeing your family. You're getting low on energy because you don't have the carbs in there. They all have the exact same result. And then as a result of that, you start eating more again. Even though you've lost a bit of weight and you're happy with the result, you start eating more food. And then once you start eating more food, what happens? You put all the weight back on again. And I don't know about you. I am someone that's done this before, but I don't know about you, but I find it very, very disheartening to think that I've done something and I'm not able to keep that thing going. Once I learn a skill, I like to be able to keep that skill forever. I like to be able to build on that skill. Now, when it comes to dropping body fat, if you've done it once and you've shit the bed on the way out of it, then it's just not as fun to do it the next time, and you don't feel as good about yourself, and you actually sometimes you can spiral and you can end up worse, which is what happened to me. And that's what I want to talk about now. So around about this time, we're in September now, around about this time last year, this happened to me too. All right, so I came in to 2024 in pretty bad shape. Now, I wasn't like massively obese or overweight. This is me here on the left. I wasn't massively obese. I wasn't hugely overweight or anything, but I was very uncomfortable in my body. I was carrying an excess level of body fat. I just come out of a extreme injury I had to my hand, so I wasn't really training. I wasn't really doing much, and like I wasn't feeling myself in any way, shape, or form. So this was January 24, we'll say, right? And I was weighing at 96 kg here, and I remember it distinctly stepping on the scales, and I nearly had a heart attack because I see 96, and I've never seen 96 kg on the scales. I wasn't working with a coach at the time. I wasn't working with anyone. I was just obviously a coach myself, so I knew how to train. I knew how to diet. I knew how to do all this stuff. And I said to myself, I need to fucking fix this. I need to do something about this. It's not right, the position that I'm in right now. So I said, right, I'm going to do something about this. And I did, right? So I booked, what I did was I came in here into the middle and I booked a photo shoot for May 2024. All right. So I wasn't giving myself a huge amount of time to fix this shit. I went from January, February, March, April, May. What's that? 4 or 5 months? I gave myself 4.5 months, I think it was, to get myself in shape and to completely rebuild myself from the ground up. And this is why I preach this. I preach this inside the Life Lift Repeat project as well, that you cannot rebuild yourself from the ground up unless you do the hard work after you've done the rebuild. And that's the second part of this video that I'm going to go into. So I managed to get myself down from 96 kg in January 24 to May 24. I managed to get myself down to 83 kg. That was my photo shoot weight. Went into the photo shoot. I felt absolutely fucking amazing, and it was one of the best feelings that I've ever been in. I was walking around, I had so much confidence. I've never been that lean. I would like to be that lean again one day, but like it was very hard to get there. And my approach to getting there was super restrictive. Like it's very hard to describe. I cut out all my favorite foods. I stopped socializing. Yes, I did go for the odd social event, but I didn't drink at them. I was a miserable sack of shit. You ask my partner Lorraine what I was like to deal with in the build up to that photo shoot. She'll tell you that I'm a miserable bastard, and she never ever wants to see me go through anything like that again because of how much of an asshole I was. So that's the level I went to. I remember dropping my calories down to like 1,200 for the last 2 or 3 weeks, just because I thought I'd get more of the body fat off. And yes, I got my body fat down to a relatively low level because at the start of the diet I was eating well and it was really good, and I had the stable foundation there already. But what happened after this was the real problem. Okay, so I spiraled. I could not stop myself from eating at all. There was nothing that I could do to stop myself from eating after I came out of the photo shoot. And I'm not going to give you any prizes for guessing that. When I came in to this photo here, I weighed in back at, I think it was 98 kg in this photo here. I was actually on holiday in Dubai. And what should have been the most exciting time of my life. Dubai is a fantastic city. If you've never been, I highly recommend going. But what should have been the most amazing time of my life, I was in the shape of my life in the build up to it. It felt like such a slog of a week for me. I was so uncomfortable. I didn't want to take my t-shirt off, and I managed to completely undo this. And I'm not going to give you any prizes for guessing how long it took me to completely undo all the hard work that I did. So it took me 4 months, January, February, March, April, May, to get into the shape of my life. And it was September 24 when I ended up back into this position. So May, June, July, August, September. So it took me 4 months to get myself back into a worse state, because I would argue that in this photo here, I'm actually in worse shape than I am in the initial photo. So it was a complete rebound. It was a complete spiral. I remember like every day when I was driving home from work, I used to stop into the garage and I'd get myself a cappuccino, 2 bars of chocolate, and something out of the deli every single day. And I don't know why, because I couldn't stop myself from eating. And I do know why now. The reason was because I was so restrictive in the build-up. I hadn't had any of that food. My brain just said, fuck, give me that. Give me that food. Give me all that food. And I couldn't stop myself, and I couldn't stop. And even though I knew I had a deadline, I had Dubai coming up, I was trying to train, wasn't motivated to train. And that's because I didn't reverse out of my diet properly. So that's the second part of it, okay? The diet wasn't my lifestyle. The diet was the thing that got me to the goal. And then after the goal, I just completely forgot about the diet. So now the approach that I take with all of my clients and the approach that I take with my own dieting is I don't diet. I'm on a permanent lifestyle change now. I eat clean, I eat well. I go through different phases where I'm in deficits. I'm in a muscle building phase, and that's just how I do my life right now. So that's what happened to me. And I know I've rambled a little bit on about that, but that's It's a very relevant thing because I see a lot of guys, and it happens to a lot of guys in the process of trying to drop body fat. So as I've said, the system is the thing that's broken. It's not your fault, my man. Okay. So I see a lot of lads get stuck in the cycle of blaming themselves because they can't lose weight. And a lot of lads think that they're broken, that they're not able to lose weight and they're never going to be able to lose weight. I've had people say to me, "Oh, you got into the shape of your life for a photo shoot. I'd love to be able to do that." Let me tell you now, there is absolutely no reason why you couldn't do that. There's no reason why I couldn't go and do it again. You know, the system is the thing that's broken. Okay, society pushes so much shit in our face, with Instagram just constantly being readily and available, where you can literally just open up your Instagram app and every time you scroll through it, you see really fit guys trying to push shit in your face, trying to tell you to buy the latest supplements or trying to tell you to cut your carbs or do the carnivore diet. And that's the problem. There's too much shit that's going on in your face. That's the system. It's broken. It isn't your fault. Okay. So let me show you the approach that we use to get you in shape. And I'm going to tell you how you can do it right now. So the first step is you want to identify why it is you actually failed before. So what's the reason why you have done the failure? So that way, when you notice it happening again in future, you're actually able to cut it out and it doesn't become a problem for you anymore. So number one, realistically, the reason is you were probably just a little bit too restrictive or a lot too restrictive. You cut it all out more than likely, and you might have stopped your social events. You probably didn't enjoy eating the foods that you were eating, and what happens when you don't enjoy something? You don't want to do it. I had this conversation with a client of mine during the week last week, and I programmed a training block for him for 4 weeks. And I noticed that he wasn't as committed. This is one of my star clients. He's with me for 1.5 years now. He never ever struggles to go to the gym. He's always enjoyed going to the gym. But I noticed for the last 4 weeks, since he's been in the block that I've programmed for him, that he wasn't going to the gym as much. He was only getting 1 or 2 days in the gym, where he used to get 3 or 4 days, and he was asking me for more stuff. So I was kind of asking, like, what's going on there? Like, that's not like him at all. So I moved him into a new block for his training last week, and he actually got all of his workouts done again. And it turned out that he just didn't like the training block that he was in. He didn't enjoy it. It wasn't fun. It was monotonous for him, and it was stopping him from actually wanting to go to the gym. And this is the same logic when it comes to your diet. If you don't enjoy the foods in your diet, then how the hell are you going to stick to that? A pizza is going to pop up in front of you and it's going to look fucking amazing. And you're going to be like, oh, I really want that pizza. And that's going to completely derail you. All right. So don't be too restrictive with your diet. You can have all the nice things in there. You just need to learn portion management and portion control. Number two, the approaches that you took were a little bit unstable. So they might work for you for a couple of weeks, but if your lifestyle starts to change a little bit, they're going to shit the bed a bit. So an example of this would be, you might wait. Just a lot of lads wait for the right time to start something. All right. There is never a right time other than the time when you decide that you want to start something. That's the best time. But if you started a diet, let's just imagine you got 2 weeks off of work this week and you started your diet and you did it for 2 weeks and it went really well. And you were really, really restrictive, or you weren't really restrictive, but you started a new way of doing things, or you eat at certain times in the day or whatever. But then you go back to work and then you can't stick to it because your times that you eat, you're actually working. Then that's an unstable approach. Okay. So you need to find an approach that allows you to be able to go to work, be able to do your everyday stuff while also sticking to this approach too. And number three, this is the biggest one. This is the one that a lot of people miss out on. And this is the thing that I really like educating people in when they come into the Life Lift Free project. You just weren't educated on the diet. Okay, you probably pulled it online. You probably got onto ChatGPT. It's giving you a diet plan. It's not really told you the reason why you're going to follow it. You never actually knew why it worked for you in the first place. So you weren't able to stick with it. You weren't able to stay doing it. And again, this is the thing where it's like with your training. If you're going in and you're just throwing weights around in the gym, you don't really know why, and you're always going to be stuck doing that because you're not going to know why it's working. You're not going to know what it's doing. It's like, for instance, I'm just trying to think of an example now off the top of my head. If you use a screwdriver and you went to drive a screw and it didn't work, but you were using a flathead and you were supposed to be using a Phillips, but you kept trying to do it with the flathead, you didn't know why it wasn't working. Whereas if you knew, okay, well, if I put the Phillips head in there, it becomes much easier for you to stick to that. It becomes much easier for you to actually complete the action. It's the same with your diet. If you know why you're doing it, you know why it works, it's easier to follow through with it. So this is the approach that I'm using inside the Life of Repeat project at the moment. It's called the Precision Fuel System. And the idea behind this system is it's the core delivery mechanism that I'm using inside the Life of Repeat project. It's got lots and lots of guys in shape. It's taught lots of guys how to stay in shape forever. And let me just give you the basic outline of what's involved in it. So the whole goal of it is we want to flip the diet culture on its head completely. All right. So as I said at the start of this video, I want you to completely reframe your mind, move away from what you currently think of diets. Okay. You're not going on a diet. It's your lifestyle. You're changing your lifestyle for the good. And this is a thing that you're going to do forever. So if you don't think you can stick to this forever, then don't fucking do it in the first place. All right. Don't say, I'm going to cut out bread if you can't get rid of bread from your diet forever. All right. And that's the approach that you need to take with that. We want to have a flexible approach to your nutrition. All right. Still enjoying your food. Like enjoy is the key word here. Really enjoy your food. You can still go out for drinks and be able to lose weight at the same time. Okay. Because that's what everyone wants. Really, I think that's what everyone wants. That's what I want anyway. I want to be able to go out and see my friends at the weekend sometimes. I want to be able to go to a christening and not worry about having a few drinks. And I want to lose weight. I want to eat chocolate bars every other day and lose weight. And that's a sustainable approach to doing that. I'm going to tell you how. You want to have your nutrition fit your lifestyle, okay? You want it to work around your lifestyle, not just when you're quiet, when you're off work, but also when you're really, really crazy fucking busy. Okay, so actual education is the way to do that. Actual education so that you can keep applying these principles forever. And that's how we do it in the Precision Fuel System. So how? I hear you asking me how. How do I do this, Gavin? Like you've just told me how your system works, but you haven't told me what to do. Here you go. This is the actionable piece, my man. All right, you put this into place, you win at all costs. All right, so avoid this shit at all costs. Okay, please do not let me catch you doing this. If I see you doing this, I will personally come to your house and I will. Only joking, but please don't do this. Okay, do not ban entire food groups. Very important. All right, don't cut carbs. Don't drop your protein. Don't get rid of fruit. Don't go on a whole fruit cleanse. Don't get rid of fats because fat is bad for you. It isn't. Fat is good for you. All of the foods need to be in your diet and you need to have a variety of them across the space of the week. Number two is don't feel guilty about having a meal out or a few drinks. I see it all the time. You start a diet, but you see that you're going out for the weekend and then Monday comes around, you're like, I shouldn't have done that. And now you feel guilty. So your calories go down really, really low. Or you give up completely and you go back to your old ways. Don't feel guilty about it. Okay, just go out, enjoy it. The frame that I use with all of my clients for this is, yes, you're gone out. Okay, so you can be perfect in the build up to going out. You can go out, you can just be there in the moment, enjoy it, every single second of it, and then you're finished that, and then you get the fuck back on it. All right, and that's simply it. Okay, don't feel guilty about it. And then number three, as I kind of just touched on there, don't drop your calories to an extremely low level just because you feel guilty for doing all the stuff that you just did. All right, avoid doing that. Okay, cutting your calories will not help you. You think it will, but it won't. Your energy levels will shit the bed. You're gonna feel like crap immediately, and you're probably just not going to function properly. So your workouts won't be as effective because you've got less calories to work off. You're going to have less fuel. You're going to probably gain a little bit of weight as well when you do go back to eating a little bit more calories. So just don't cut the calories low like I did. You'll be fine. You'll win. And this is stuff that you need to do at all costs, like without exception. Make sure that you're doing this on a regular basis, okay? So this is the way to Amarillo. This is the way to lose weight, okay? So keep a very, very small calorie deficit. So I reckon anything between 200 and 300 below your maintenance. If you want to calculate how that you can get your maintenance calories, then there's a couple of simple formulas you can use. It's obviously not the most effective way, but if I was going to do it, I would just take my body weight in pounds, and you're going to multiply that by 2.2. No, you're not. Sorry. Don't multiply it by 2.2. Take your body weight in pounds and multiply it by 8 or 10. Okay? 8 to 10. One of the two. So let me give you an example. So let's just say my body weight, I don't know my body weight in pounds. Should have known this before I came on. But let's just say I was 150 pounds. And I multiply that by 8. which I'm not very good at maths. Let me multiply it by 10. Multiply that by 10. That is 1,550 calories. Okay, that's deficit calories multiplied by 10. If you wanted to go for a little bit more of an extreme deficit, you multiply it by 8. Now, I'm not 150 pounds. I know that for a fact. I just pulled it off the top of my head. I'm way more than 150 pounds. But that gives you a rough idea. Okay, just so you know, moving off the back of this video. And this is a big one. Lift weights 3 to 4 times a week, every week. Okay, on a consistent basis. Lifting weights is going to allow you to build muscle. When you have more muscle in your body, then your body needs to work harder to maintain the muscle all the time. If your body's working harder when you're resting, your body will naturally just burn more calories from you sitting at rest. And this is the reason why, if you ever watched a bodybuilder eat loads and loads and loads of food, but you can still see their six packs, because they fucking carry a shit ton of muscle and their body's working so hard all the time to burn that muscle. That's why their body fat levels are so low. And also they're fucking super on it with their diet all the time. And prioritize good quality sleep, recovery, and bedtime routine. All right, I cannot stress how important this stuff is. When I don't have my bedtime routine, my recovery is poor, and I need a bedtime routine, and so do you. So if you haven't heard my bedtime routines from previous videos or previous episodes in the past, literally all I do is I will do not disturb my phone at 8 o'clock. I've actually recently set up a blocker app on my phone that just doesn't allow me to use apps on my phone after 8 p.m. in the evening, so that I'm not touching my phone, I'm not anywhere near technology. And then about an hour before I get into bed, I'll take a magnesium supplement. I'll just get away from screens, maybe do a little bit of reading, and just spend some time with my partner Lorraine on the couch and just chill the fuck out. And then when you do get into bed, you sleep like a fucking baby. So it's absolutely fantastic. And then the last one, show up consistently. Consistency is the thing that's going to get you to lose the weight. All right, so if you just kind of do it for 2 weeks and then stop doing it, you might lose the initial, but you put it all back on again. So it needs to be a consistent thing that you do forever and ever and ever and ever without fail. Okay, so if you, like I've said, with all of the principles across this whole video, if you cannot apply these forever, then don't do them at all. Okay, because if you do, you're going to completely derail yourself. All right, so only ever commit to something that you know that you'll be able to do forever and ever and ever. And that's how you stay in shape for life. It's as simple as that, my man. If you follow these steps, I guarantee you will get in shape and you will stay in shape forever. Okay, this is the simplified version of it. I cover it in much, much more detail inside the Life Lift Repeat project and the precision fuel system that I've just ran through with you. So if you are interested in hearing more about potentially working with me in the Life Lift Repeat project, then just drop me a message on Instagram. You can also join our free school community where there's loads of other guys who are in similar boats to you. I've got loads of free resources inside there too. Both of those are in the description, in the show notes. So yeah, pop over, have a look at that stuff. Thank you again for listening along to this video. I really, really appreciate it. And I will speak to you all very, very, very soon. Good luck.